Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 8. So just to start off, just in case this is my last video of the year, I might get another video out, I'm not too sure, but just in case it is, I do want to wish everyone a happy new year heading into 2022. Hopefully it's a better year with less issues going on in the world and everything like that. Fingers crossed. Hopefully you can hear that knock on wood and everything like that. So yeah, if I don't see you before then, Happy New Year, but I might get another video out before the new year hits. But anyway, we're of course in the midst of the extended mid-season break for The Flash in its 8th season due to circumstances outside of the show's control. They just can't really control what's going on. It's not their fault. But of course, to start off season 8, we had the Armageddon event, which had a lot of stuff going down within it. But one of the big factors in it was that of Reverse Flash. Now, in the finale for the Armageddon event, or part 5, we saw Barry handed quite the moral conundrum, if you want to call it, as he had to decide whether to save Eobard Thawne's life or just, let him wither away and fade away from existence. So, yeah, let him die. As this was the Eobard that belonged to the reverse Flashpoint timeline, not the timeline that Barry restored, so everything was catching up to him, similar in a way to the situation that Barry was in within that reverse Flashpoint timeline. He was starting to fade away. Now, of course, Barry, Iris, and Caitlin were all in agreement that they should, just let him fade away. They've had to deal with him for many, many years. Know what he's like. Just, he deserves it. He deserves to be ridded of. But Joe pushes Barry in the direction of saving Eobard. However, to do this, they needed to remove Eobard's speed, which when it's done in the episode, doesn't really please Eobard at all, with him being placed in Argus afterwards as well. But this video specifically doesn't really have to do with what Eobard is doing right now in Argus, but it has to do with the negative speed force that Barry expelled from Eobard's body. As we saw in the episode, it shoots up into the air outside of Star Labs, but we don't see it fade away, disappear or anything like that. It just shoots upwards off screen. And as we saw last season, for example, with the creation of the new forces, if we don't see where something lands or ends up the first time something like that happens, then we can expect the show to, show us the answer to that later down the track. Now, some have said this is just similar or the same to the Exorcism of Nash Wells episode from season 6, but we know that Eobard was attached to that energy that went out in that episode. It was like the spirit or the soul of Eobard being taken away. This time, the actual negative speed force was removed and expelled from Eobard, with Eobard remaining behind, his actual physical body remaining behind. So he's not attached to that, and he's locked up in Argus now. So will that negative speed force find another host? But yeah, guys, throughout the video, it would be awesome if you could let me know your various thoughts and opinions on the stuff that we're going to go over for the rest of the video. I'm sure you guys might be able to add one or two more things, or just give your overall thoughts on what we go over specifically in the video. I'm always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and just want to show your support, why not drop a like on it to do that? It takes 2 seconds. So following this event, at the conclusion of the Armageddon event with, Reverse Flash's negative speed force energy being expelled out into the wilderness, if we want to call it, one of the big theories, if not the main theory that's out there, is that this now loose negative speed force energy will connect with someone and create what will be the show's version of Red Death, or like a take on it, which has been a highly requested villain to eventually appear as a big bad on the show, since they first name dropped him in season 5, or him or her, could be both, or one or the other. Both? I don't know. Or if it's not Red Death, it's just another evil speedster, maybe another version of Reverse Flash, who isn't necessarily Eobard Thawne from some point in the timeline. Now, in regards to the Red Death side of this discussion and theory, we have gone over the possible people that could fall under this mantle on the show if they do decide to use Red Death. Some of the options that have presented themselves that we have talked about include Eddie Thawne, Ronnie Raymond, Kate Kane, and even Hunter Zolomon. Now, with Red Death, we know in the future, which was pre-Crisis, but it's still worth bringing up, that he was a mass murderer who was only a bit shy of Cicada in regards to kill count. And it's important to remember that Cicada had a metahuman magnet killing dagger pretty much. So that was a bit of a cheat code. Really, the dagger had the kills, not really Cicada. So yeah. So Red Death is supposed to be quite the bloodthirsty and relentless evil speedster who loves a bit of killing. So there is the possibility that if it isn't any of the recognizable, mentioned characters from before, like Eddie, Ronnie, and etc., that they could make it that the negative speed force energy out there was connected or was attracted to the most hate-filled and evil person in Central City, or the person with the most potential to be the most evil, if that makes sense. Someone who, with these, speedster abilities, or these new speedster abilities, would be on the level of someone who could bring up quite the numbers that Red Death was believed to have done in that future that we saw back in Season 5 with young Nora in the Flash Museum and that high kill count. Now, if it isn't like specifically a figure that goes on to be known as like Red Death, but it is another evil speedster, what could we see there? Well, they could produce a take on another version of Reverse Flash from the comics, and no, it's not Hunter Zolomon, as we did see Zoom in Season 2, though they, of course, could do like a more comic accurate take on that evil version, or that evil speedster, but this Reverse Flash would be a take on the Daniel West Reverse Flash from the New 52 comics. Yes, Daniel West, as in the West family that Iris belongs to. So in the comics, Daniel is actually the son of William West and the younger brother of Iris West. So obviously on the show we have Joe West, so there's a change immediately. But after Daniel's mother died actually giving birth to Daniel, his father blamed him and sort of became an abusive parent towards him. So after years of this abuse, Daniel is pushed to the limit and pushes his father down the stairs. Just gives him the old heave-ho, leaving his father disabled. And, realizing that Iris actually saw him do all of this, it shames him a bit and he runs away from home. Now we have years go past with Daniel getting into a life of crime, which does have him actually cross paths with the Rogues and Iron Heights and the Flash. And during these things, he builds up both a resentment for the Flash and Barry Allen during this time, as he has negative experiences with both of them for different reasons. But he then gets into an accident that changes his life, with Daniel crashing into a car that's powered by a Speed Force battery, giving him connections to the Speed Force. Not the negative Speed Force, but the Speed Force. Now, Daniel ends up becoming obsessed with going back in time and actually killing his father before he goes through all this abuse that he went through. But he needs more energy to do all that. So he dubs himself Reverse Flash and starts killing other speedsters in order to take their Speed Force, thereby making himself faster. Now, Daniel gathers enough power and actually goes back in time to the period of time when he was around 8 years old. And this is really the last time that he remembers actually being happy, and not being just this miserable person that he's become in the future. And he plans to actually kill his father instead of just, making him disabled. Now, Barry, as the Flash, is lucky enough to intercept Daniel and manage to convince him to not kill his father, after pointing out that he'd be doing much more harm to not only himself, but also Iris as well. Now, could the show adapt Daniel West as a character? No, I don't think so. You could, but you'd probably be jumping through some plot holes and everything like that, or you'd be jumping around to avoid plot holes. Actually, that's probably the best way to say it, might I say. But I could easily see them adapting a similar storyline with another character that's probably not related to at least Barry or Iris, and just slotting in the negative Speed Force being what they are connected to rather than the regular Speed Force like Daniel West is. However, they could have it that multiple people in Central City get the negative Speed Force energy, and this evil speedster kills them in order to, be all powerful and do the deed that he wants to do, whatever that might be. Whether that be traveling back in time to do something, or just get supreme power, whatever it is. They could even add some mystery if they wanted to. It depends what route they want to go down, but they could even have it that they know exactly which people were hit with the Speed Force energy, but they don't know which person is killing the others. So it's about finding out who is the real killer in that bunch before he kills the rest of them, and potentially also the Flash once they gain enough power. I've never played Among Us, but is that what Among Us is? It's trying to figure out who's killing everyone before they win. I don't know. If that's Among Us, let me know. Boom moment. I've never played it, but anyway. But yeah, I think that'd be a somewhat cool storyline. Have a Cluedo sort of who's killing everyone, but we don't know, and they have to sort of figure it out. But we do know that there's meant to be two villains, once we pick up, with episode 6 onwards, two villains that rise from the ashes of the events of Armageddon. So maybe one has to do with the timeline being played with that we saw, and another is due to Barry's actions of not letting Reverse Flash just wither away and fade away, or, die. So actually releasing that negative Speed Force energy out onto Central City, that could be, a repercussion that Barry and the team have to deal with. That would make sense in my opinion, that you would have a villain come from each thing, but as I always say, that's for us to wait and find out. But yeah, guys, that's it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it, show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on everything we went over. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.